Kendrick Lamar just flipped the rap game on its head, and Drake, well, let's just say his ego might never recover. Fresh off a jaw-dropping $100 million tour Payday, Kendrick didn't just collect his bag and go home. No, he came for everything. The respect, the crown, and yes, even the psychological upper hand over his biggest rival. For years, fans have debated who truly sits at the top of hip-hop's throne. Drake's commercial dominance has been unmatched, but Kendrick, he's the quiet assassin, the lyricist's lyricist, and now with numbers that even Drake's team can't ignore. Kendrick has the receipts to back up every bar he's ever spit about being the one. But it's not just about money, it's about the message. And Kendrick's latest moves, from strategic collaborations to cryptic freestyle jabs, are making it clear. This isn't just business. This is personal. The tension between these two has been simmering for over a decade. Now with the rap game watching closely, Kendrick just made his boldest move yet. And trust me, the aftershocks are only beginning. Kendrick Lamar's name wasn't just trending, it was dominating every corner of the internet. From the streets of Compton to the penthouses of Manhattan, everyone was talking about the Compton prodigy who just turned the rap game upside down. The headlines were merciless, the podcasts were buzzing, and social media was on fire. The reason? Kendrick Lamar had just obliterated Drake's carefully crafted image. Not with a diss track alone, but with cold, hard receipts, a staggering $100 million tour Payday that was now public knowledge for years. The battle lines had been drawn between these two titans of hip-hop. Drake, the Toronto hitmaker, known for his chart-topping hooks and crossover appeal, had built his empire on consistency and branding. Kendrick, on the other hand, had built his legacy on artistry, lyrical precision, and the ability to spark cultural conversations with every release. This wasn't just a rivalry, it was a clash of philosophies. The Pope rap juggernaut versus the poetorier of the West Coast. It all began months ago in hushed industry whispers. Word spread that Kendrick was quietly working on his most ambitious tours to date. But unlike most rappers, Kendrick didn't flood Instagram with behind-the-scenes videos or leak cryptic teasers. He moved in silence, letting speculation build until the official announcement dropped: a worldwide stadium tour that would rival the biggest pop acts in the game. The ticket sales, astronomical. Within days, cities were selling out. VIP packages, priced in the thousands, vanished in minutes. Meanwhile, Drake was riding high on his own success. His last tour had broken records, his collaborations were everywhere, and his streaming numbers looked untouchable. But even as Drake's brand seemed bulletproof, insiders claimed he was keeping a close eye on Kendrick's numbers. The tension had been there for years, subliminal shots in lyrics, interviews laced with subtle shade. Fans debating endlessly over who was the true king of their generation. Then came the breaking point. Billboard released its mid-year touring revenue report, and the industry went silent for a moment. Kendrick Lamar's tour had already grossed $100 million halfway through the run. The number wasn't just impressive, it was historic. For a rapper known for his selective approach to touring, Kendrick had now matched, and in some eyes, surpassed the financial milestones that Drake had taken years to build. The rap world reacted instantly. Twitter, or X, as Elon Musk insisted people call it, exploded with memes, from Drake staring at his bank app to Kendrick collecting infinity stones. Hip-hop podcasts dedicated emergency episodes to dissecting the numbers. One viral clip featured a panel of industry analysts declaring, "This isn't just money, this is a power shift." And Kendrick, he didn't gloat. He didn't post a single celebratory photo with stacks of cash or an expensive champagne bottle. Instead, he walked onto his next tour stop in Oakland and delivered a performance so sharp, so precise, that it felt like a live declaration of dominance. In between songs, he addressed the crowd with a cryptic smile and one line that sent shockwaves across the culture. "They told me I couldn't do it without pop hooks. But here we are. The crowd roared. Fans knew exactly who he was talking about. Behind the scenes, Drake's camp reportedly scrambled. Sources claim that Drake was frustrated not just by the numbers, but by the narrative forming around them. In the age of social media, perception was reality. And right now, the perception was that Kendrick had one. Without even engaging in a direct beef, music journalists began pulling receipts from the past decade. They revisited the infamous Control verse of 2013, where Kendrick called out Drake by name and declared himself the best. They analyzed the subliminals in Drake's later songs, the unspoken tension during awards, show appearances, and the way both artists had carefully avoided a full-on lyrical war until now, when Kendrick seemed to be winning on pure achievement. But here's where the story twisted into something deeper. The $100 million Payday wasn't just a flex. It was a carefully calculated move. Kendrick's team had structured the tour around premium fan experiences, exclusive merchandise drops, and limited edition collaborations with high-end fashion brands. This wasn't a case of simply selling tickets. It was an empire move, pulling in revenue streams Drake hadn't even tapped in the same way. Hip-hop veterans weighed in. Some praised Kendrick for elevating the business model of a rap tour to rockstar levels. Others warned that this would only push Drake to respond in kind, perhaps with a bigger, flashier tour of his own. The OGs on Drink Champs laughed, saying, "This is chess, not checkers. Drake's been playing checkers for a minute." But as fans celebrated Kendrick's win, another question emerged. Was this just about money, or was Kendrick sending a deeper message? His entire career had been built on challenging the system, from his unapologetic storytelling about Black America to his refusal to play by industry politics. This tour, and its massive payday, was proof that you could dominate the game without watering down your art. Meanwhile, Drake's silence was deafening. Normally quick to drop a sly Instagram caption or a one-liner in a feature, he remained unusually quiet. Some believed he was plotting a massive musical response, while others thought he might ignore it entirely to avoid validating the hype. But fans weren't having it. Every post on Drake's social media was flooded with comments like, "Kendrick cooked you," and "Where's the response? Champagne Poppy." As part one of this unfolding saga closed, the stage was set for something bigger than a rap beef. This wasn't just about Kendrick Lamar versus Drake. This was about two visions of hip-hop colliding in real time, with the world watching and the stakes higher than ever. And deep down, everyone knew this was only the beginning. The hip-hop world thought the dust had settled after Kendrick Lamar's explosive onstage callouts. But the truth was, he was only getting started. The moment news broke that Drake had secured a $100 million payday from his record-breaking tour, most rappers would have congratulated him, at least publicly. Kendrick, not a chance. This wasn't about clapping for another man's success. This was about showing the world that money doesn't erase weakness. And if Drake thought a bank balance that large could protect his ego, Kendrick was about to teach him a very public, very painful lesson. The trap was already set for weeks. Industry insiders whispered that Kendrick had been working on something nuclear, a project so devastating it would change the rap hierarchy overnight. But here's the twist. He wasn't dropping an album. He wasn't going on tour. He wasn't even releasing a single. Instead, Kendrick was orchestrating a surgical ego takedown, using every weapon at his disposal: subtle disses in guest verses, cryptic IG stories, and an unshakable presence in every space Drake thought he owned. The first blow landed when Kendrick showed up at the Billboard Hip Hop Summit in LA unannounced. Cameras clicked like machine guns as he stepped on stage wearing a t-shirt with 3 words in bold white print: "Numbers ain't respect." The crowd knew exactly who that was aimed at. Okay? And if anyone missed the point, Kendrick drove it home in his brief speech. Some people buy love with streams. Some people rent relevance. Me, I just earn it. Fans went into overdrive. Social media exploded. Hashtags like hashtag numbers AINT respect and hashtag Drake respond trended within minutes. The hip-hop blogs didn't even try to hide their bias. They were eating it up. But this wasn't just pettiness. This was Kendrick controlling the conversation. By planting the idea that Drake's success was hollow, he forced every interviewer, every podcast, every panel to ask the same question. Does money equal greatness? And that question cut deeper than any diss track. Meanwhile, Drake's camp scrambled to respond. His team released carefully crafted posts highlighting his philanthropy, his tour's cultural impact, even his behind-the-scenes mentoring of younger artists. But the damage was already done. Kendrick had shifted the narrative now. Every time Drake's $100 million payday was mentioned, it came with a shadow. Yeah, Kendrick said numbers ain't respect. The second strike came a week later during a surprise guest verse on J. Cole's new track, Royalty Check. The verse wasn't a direct name drop, but every bar was a scalpel. Crowns get heavy when they hollow inside. Gold chains don't hide the truth you try to buy. It was surgical, poetic, and unmistakably aimed at Drake. Fans dissected the lyrics like they were national security codes, with genius annotations blowing up overnight. Kendrick had managed to both elevate Cole's single and deepen the wound in Drake's armor without ever saying his name. But what made this moment even more savage was where the track debuted live at a private industry mixer in Toronto, Drake's own backyard. Imagine that, Kendrick stepping into Drake's city, performing a verse that undercut the very foundation of Drake's I'm untouchable narrative, and walking out without breaking a sweat. By now, the hip-hop streets were buzzing with one unavoidable truth. Kendrick wasn't attacking Drake's music, he was attacking his image. And in the rap game, where perception is currency, that was even more dangerous. Then came the third and most brutal move, the public alliance. Kendrick linked up with a group of rap legends for an impromptu cypher streamed live on YouTube. The lineup: Nas, Ice Cube, Andre 3000, and Kendrick in the center. The message was clear: I am the heir to the real throne. In between verses, Nas leaned into the mic and said, "This man right here, he don't chase hits, hits chase him." You could almost hear Drake grinding his teeth from across the continent. And here's the psychological genius of it. Kendrick knew Drake's ego wasn't just built on sales, it was built on validation from the culture. By surrounding himself with the elder statesmen of rap, Kendrick was placing himself in the direct bloodline of authenticity. Drake could have $100 million, a million screaming fans, and still, he wasn't invited to that table, though press ate it alive. Complex ran a cover story titled The New King, with Kendrick's face in gold foil lettering. Podcasts debated whether Drake's reign was officially over. Even veteran DJs who had championed Drake for years started talking about the shift. By the end of that week, it wasn't just fans comparing Kendrick and Drake, it was brands, promoters, and event organizers. The calls started coming in for Kendrick to headline festivals that Drake once dominated. Sponsorship deals began leaning toward Kendrick's camp. Not because he had more money, but because his cultural stock had skyrocketed. Drake's people tried to counter. A leaked snippet of a supposed response track surfaced online, but it sounded rushed, almost desperate. Fans weren't buying it. The comments were brutal. "This ain't a response. This is damage control. You can't buy soul, Aubrey." Kendrick's living rent-free in his head. And maybe that's the most telling part. For the first time in years, Drake looked reactive, not proactive. Kendrick had turned him from the hunter into the hunted. And in the rap game, that's a dangerous role reversal. The real brilliance. Kendrick never once said Drake out loud. He never needed to. His entire assault was built on implication, on letting the audience connect the dots, on forcing Drake to acknowledge him first. Because in battle psychology, the first one to say the other man's name loses control of the narrative. And Kendrick Lamar, he was holding the narrative in a chokehold. By the close of part 2 in this unfolding war, the scoreboard was clear. Drake had the money, Kendrick had the moment. And in hip-hop, moments outlive millions. By the time Kendrick Lamar had left that stage, the entire internet had already transformed into an inferno of conspiracy theories, lyrical breakdowns, and wild allegations. And while Drake's core fan base scrambled to defend him, the rap world was leaning into one pressing question. What exactly did Kendrick mean when he said he had the paper trail? That line wasn't just a casual jab. It was a loaded warning. Shot the kind you only fire when you're sitting on undeniable proof. Within hours, insiders started whispering that Kendrick wasn't bluffing. Apparently, this wasn't just a diss track situation. It was a Rashid Sondek scenario. Screenshots, scanned PDFs, and signed agreements that linked Drake to a secret creative property buyout deal with a certain shadowy label group. The wild part. This deal allegedly went down during one of Drake's quiet years, a period. Fans thought he was just resting or cooking up music. But according to whispers from the inside, that break was actually Drake untangling himself from a toxic agreement, and it wasn't cheap. Some say he paid millions just to make sure certain songs masters. And even unreleased material wouldn't be held hostage forever. But here's where it gets sticky. When Kendrick said hidden contract, it didn't just mean financial paperwork. The streets believe that this contract also involved a content clause, something that allegedly shaped the very narrative of Drake's music for a couple of years. We're talking ghostwritten verses, label-approved subject matter, and even calculated beef moments designed to keep streams high. And that's where Kendrick's smile on stage started making sense. Because if he truly has a copy of that contract, it's not just about embarrassing Drake, it's about pulling the mask off the entire rap industry's marketing machine. Meanwhile, social media was a war zone. Hashtags like #ContractGate and #Drake Receipts trended for 2 straight days. Memes of Drake holding a giant, cartoonish pen flooded Twitter and Instagram. Rap bloggers went live for hours, dissecting every possible connection. Was this why Drake seemed so distant from certain artists? Was this why certain tracks from that era sounded different? Then came the shocker, a cryptic post from one of Drake's former collaborators, a producer who hadn't worked with him in years. No direct names, no outright claims, just a photo of an old studio desk and the caption, "Some deals you sign with ink, others you sign with blood." The comment section exploded. Fans begged for clarity. Was this about Kendrick's revelation? Was it connected to the contract? The producer never replied, only deleting the post a few hours later, which, of course, only made people more convinced it was real. Back in Compton, Kendrick remained calm. No emergency interviews, no podcast appearances, just silence. That's when people realized he was letting the storm build. Every hour he stayed quiet, the tension doubled. Some rap analysts even suggested that Kendrick was about to drop a full exposed track. Something in the vein of The Heart Part 5, but 10 times more personal, with documented proof embedded. In the music video itself, one popular YouTube theory claimed he'd already filmed visuals that included blurred-out screenshots of the contract, ready to reveal them when the moment hit peak hype. Meanwhile, Drake wasn't silent either, but his response was carefully coded. At an after-party in Miami, a leaked clip caught him telling a small group, "Everybody wants to see the villain fall. But they forget the villain always survives the first act." Fans debated for hours whether that was a direct shot at Kendrick, or just typical Drake bravado. Still, one thing was clear. The contract talk was rattling him. Industry insiders noticed he suddenly pushed back release dates for a few upcoming features. One even claimed a video shoot in Toronto was quietly postponed, because Drake wanted to control the narrative before moving forward. Then came the most unexpected twist. A mid-tier entertainment blog, not a mainstream outlet, not a gossip giant, but a relatively unknown hip-hop culture site, dropped a headline that sent shockwaves through the community. Exclusive insider confirms Kendrick's claim Drake's hidden contract was with Redacted Entertainment Group. The article alleged that the agreement in question was signed in late 2017, and that it was tied to a series of disputes over music ownership. Even more shocking, the piece claimed the contract contained an NDA clause so strict that breaching it could result in a career-ending lawsuit. Of course, without hard evidence, skeptics dismissed it as clickbait. But for die-hard Kendrick fans, it was all the confirmation they needed to start demanding the drop. By nightfall, Instagram Live became the main battleground. Rappers, producers, and even old-school legends logged on to give their takes. One veteran MC put it bluntly: "If Kenny got that paperwork, Drake better pray he never plays it in public. Contracts ain't bars, they're court documents." That statement alone reignited the speculation. Could Kendrick even legally release the contract if he had it? Would doing so put him in legal trouble? Or would it expose him to massive lawsuits from Drake's team? Or was Kendrick playing a different game entirely, forcing Drake into a public denial only to drop an even bigger bomb later? By the end of the week, one thing was undeniable. The tension between these two wasn't just rap beef anymore. It was morphing into something much bigger. An all-out credibility war. And in a culture where authenticity is currency, the wrong move could bankrupt Drake's reputation overnight. The night after Kendrick Lamar dropped that nuclear verse, the rap world felt different. It wasn't just that he called out Drake. It wasn't just that he aired out a hidden contract live on stage, putting business and personal in the same firing line. It was the fact that he shattered the unspoken code of silence in hip-hop, the one where money deals and shady industry moves stay behind closed doors. The crowd in Toronto was still buzzing from the chaos. Some fans swore they saw Drake's entourage leave the venue early, faces tense, phones buzzing with frantic texts. In the VIP section, industry insiders were already calculating the fallout. Kendrick's claims about a secret deal were true. It could shake the very foundation of Drake's empire. Meanwhile, social media exploded into absolute mayhem. #Kendrick exposes Drake was trending in over 40 countries. Clips of Kendrick slamming that folder onto the mic stand racked up millions of views in minutes. Some fans slowed the footage down, zooming in, trying to read the contract text. Others began piecing together timelines matching the alleged deal to Drake's mysterious disappearance from streaming charts a few years ago. But it wasn't just the fans digging. Journalists, bloggers, and rival rappers were jumping into the storm. Joe Budden dropped a 2-hour podcast breaking down every possible implication, calling it the boldest move in rap since Nas dropped Ether. Academics went live, swearing he had receipts that could back up Kendrick's claims. Even Charlemagne, the god, chimed in on The Breakfast Club, calling it a hip-hop political assassination in real time. Drake's camp stayed silent for the first 24 hours. No tweets, no statements, no cryptic Instagram captions. For someone who had built a career on slick, subliminal responses, the silence was deafening. And in that silence, Kendrick's narrative was solidifying in the public's mind. The ripple effect, the industry started to react, and it wasn't in Drake's favor. Brands he'd worked with began quietly reaching out to their PR teams, asking how they should handle potential fallout. Streaming platforms debated whether to prepare a public stance if the hidden contract allegations gained legal traction. Even more surprising, a handful of artists who had remained neutral in the Drake versus Kendrick Cold War began picking. J. Cole, who had previously kept a diplomatic distance, posted a cryptic tweet: "Truth cuts deeper than clout." Fans interpreted it as a subtle nod to Kendrick. Kendrick, meanwhile, doubled down. Instead of disappearing to let the hype die, he scheduled another surprise performance, this time in Los Angeles. Tickets sold out in under 5 minutes. The message was clear. He wasn't afraid of any counterattack at that LA show. Kendrick didn't even need to rap the diss verse. The crowd chanted it for him, word for word, before he launched into DNA. The atmosphere felt less like a concert and more like a rally. Fans waved printed screenshots of the alleged contract in the air like protest signs. Behind the scenes, Drake's COUNTR MOV while Kendrick was outside basking in public support. Drake was behind closed doors, reportedly strategizing with his legal team, PR advisors, and a select circle of OVO insiders. Sources whispered about late-night studio sessions in which Drake was crafting his own nuclear response track. Others claimed he was preparing a lawsuit, not against Kendrick, but against whoever leaked the contract to him in the first place. One rumor suggested Drake had already reached out to major streaming services, warning them not to host any unverified documents in connection to the beef, threatening legal action if they did. Another claimed he was negotiating with a high-profile journalist to tell his side of the story in an exclusive sit-down interview. But Drake's biggest problem wasn't just Kendrick, it was perception. Hip-hop fans are notoriously ruthless when it comes to sniffing out weakness. And right now, silence looked like fear. The street RICTON in the streets of Compton, Lamar's hometown, murals started appearing overnight. One showed Kendrick holding a contract with flames shooting out of it, standing over a chessboard where Drake's king was tipped over. Another depicted him with a crown tilted on his head, eyes glowing gold dot. In Toronto, however, the mood was split. Some loyal Drake fans called Kendrick a clout chaser. Others admitted that if the contract was real, it could explain a lot about industry politics and chart manipulation over the years. Rappers from both cities were posting reaction videos, some laughing at Drake's expense, others calling for a full-on rap war to settle things. No interviews, no tweets, just bars. One New York MC wrote on Instagram, "The media machine goes WLD mainstream news outlets," which usually ignored rap beef unless it spilled into violence, were now running headlines about the biggest hip-hop scandal in a decade. Business reporters began speculating about the financial ramifications for Drake's partnerships. Music historians started drawing comparisons to the Tupac versus Biggie era, noting how this feud, while not physical, had the potential to permanently shift rap's power balance. YouTube analysts cranked out breakdown videos, frame by frame, dissecting Kendrick's performance, Drake's absence, and the possible legal implications. TikTokers stitched together conspiracy theories, some even suggesting that Kendrick and Drake had orchestrated the whole thing to dominate the conversation in streaming charts. The future of the FUD by the end of the week. One thing was clear: Kendrick Lamar had forced Drake into a corner. Whether or not the contract was legitimate almost didn't matter anymore. The perception of truth was already out there, shaping the narrative. And in the court of public opinion, perception can be more powerful than facts. Insiders claimed that Drake's response track was imminent, and that it wouldn't just be a lyrical rebuttal, it would come with receipts of his own. True, this could turn into the kind of rap war that defines an entire era. But Kendrick wasn't waiting around. Sources close to TDE revealed that he had more documents and industry secrets ready to drop if Drake came for him directly. This wasn't just about music anymore, it was about legacy, respect, and who truly ran the game. The hip-hop world was holding its breath. Fans knew that the next move, whether it was Drake's counterattack or Kendrick's next bombshell, could ignite a full-scale war unlike anything seen in years. And in that tense silence before the next verse drops, one question lingered. Had Kendrick Lamar just set the stage for the ultimate fall of Drake? Or was he about to awaken a sleeping giant who still had one final devastating play left? Hashtag Kendrick Lamar, hashtag Drake, hashtag rap beef, hashtag hip-hop drama, hashtag music industry exposed, at Kendrick Lamar, at Champagne PAPI, and there you have it. Kendrick Lamar just pulled off a move so bold, so raw, that it's sending shockwaves across the entire hip-hop world. The live reveal of Drake's hidden contract wasn't just a diss, it was a declaration of war. The stakes have never been higher, the drama never more intense. And now the question every fan is asking is simple. What's Drake going to do next? Will he clap back with bars sharp enough to cut through Kendrick's momentum? Or will this be remembered as the moment Kendrick officially took the crown? We're in uncharted territory now, and the next chapter could be explosive. So keep your eyes locked right here because you won't want to miss what happens next. Hip-hop history is being written in real time. You're watching it unfold. #Kendrick Lamar, #Drake, #hip hop drama @Kendrick Lamar, @Drake.